Welcome back to the stud. We are gonna start production today. Woo-hoo. Lots of sewing, basically. Lots of cutting and sewing. So these are all the fabrics that we got last week from thrifting. And I have since washed them, so they're all perfectly clean. They're just a bit wrinkly. I always try and iron them first, just get all the wrinkles out before I start cutting. It just makes life a lot easier. So, I'm gonna get the iron ready over there and press. But in the meantime, I'm gonna just sort the fabric. So I have the like thin cottons, and I want to use these more for dress samples for next summer. Getting really ahead of ourselves, but that's fashion. You gotta work like 6 months in advance. And then I'm gonna put all the canvases on this side for the flower bags. So this is a canvas for the flower bags. This one I'm really not sure. We'll come back to that. Okay, flower bag, and of course, flower bag. And what I have already learned is that I need more fabric. Story of my life, to be honest. So we're gonna work on flower bags first, and I actually also want to finalize the flower bag XL to start producing those. I have 3 bags left on my website. I want to replenish and probably have around 10. I think it's just a better number, and you guys need options, you know? So that's the goal. And I think I have the hammock, which I have not washed yet because I need to, oh, that was loud. I need to cut off all the strings, and it has this like massive hardware on it. So we can cut that up together. And this is the one I actually have left. I haven't washed it either, but I've been kind of waiting. I think for the Christmas season it would be kind of nice. It's more fall, winter kind of vibes. And I think I can make like 2 or 3 bags from this. But do people like burgundy? I think I'm gonna do a poll on my Instagram later to see if people even like this color, because I don't want to make 3 or 4 of them and then everyone's like, it's kind of ugly. So we'll ask you. I'm gonna start ironing, I think, all the fabrics that I washed with, oh shit, something is leaking. I found the leak. This is not good. Bit of an ish. I need to figure out this leakage situation. This is not good. The iron was leaking. I put fabric down so it wouldn't leak everywhere onto my iron board. Okay, it's good. I think I actually solved the issue. The max level is here, and I think I had my water like way up here because I just didn't see it. It's hard to see through the purple plastic, so it was like leaking out through here and on the bottom. So I actually just like opened this back up and poured some of it out, which is sitting here. Now it's good. Look at me solving problems. Something that I do all the time before I even start ironing and cutting is I just like cut off the top of the curtain because it has all the gathers, like all these. Oh man, I really need to get better lighting here. I cut the top off, that way I can just press it better and I can press all the pleats. And you might say, oh, why don't you just unpick all the threads? That way you're saving it, but it's still like triple folded. There's so much stitching in it. It's just easier for me to cut it off. And then I keep the fabric scraps. I always organize all my scraps. So I have a bag of big scraps that I want to eventually use in a project. I have some ideas. If you have more ideas, let me know. And then I have another bag for small unusable scraps for me, but I've given a bag to like a quilter. It's like the perfect quilting pieces. So that's also an option, so the fabric doesn't go to waste. As you saw, it's kind of boring to watch me iron, but we are moving on to the next piece. And I thought I would kind of just do a little like get to know me better. Where I'm from, why I'm living in the Netherlands, how I got here, all those fun things, how I got even to sewing and blah yada yada yada. Yada 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 yada. That is not the vibe. Okay. So I guess I'll start with the most like basic information, which is that I am Canadian, but I am living in the Netherlands, and I live in Maastricht, which is the like extreme south of the Netherlands, and I'm pretty much in Belgium. Like I can cycle for 10 minutes and I'm in Belgium, if that gives you an idea of where I am. And I've been living in Maastricht for 1 year. I used to live in a city more north called Utrecht for I guess like a year and a half, from 2019 to 2020. And then in 2020, of course, you know what happened. But I ended up meeting this guy and we fell in love. My visa ended up finishing, so basically I had to go back to Canada. Like I wasn't allowed to stay anymore. So I went back to Canada. I did long distance for like 2 years. And then I've now since moved back because long distance is not so fun. And then I've been here for 1 year. Well, I finished all the ironing. It's as much as I can do now. This I'm gonna think about. I asked on Instagram if we like this fabric or not, so we see what the public votes. Honestly, I have no idea what I'm gonna do with these strings, but they're such good. Okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but we're keeping it all. It's such good quality string. Are you low-key mad I'm cutting up a hammock? Okay, this is the first. Ooh. I don't know how I'm gonna get the top off, but that's a later problem. Nice. No strings anymore. It is the next day and the plan is to finalize the flower bag XL pattern. Oh, there's a spider web. There are some things I need to change. I had my friend test it out and had some feedback. So I think I can make the necessary changes and then do the final sample, the official flower bag XL sample. Oh, excited. This is the pattern. I found the end was too wide still, so I want to just like bring this a bit longer and narrower. And I think I want to just move the straps up, or I might add a little tie at the front. I just want to see like what the overall shape is first and then go from there. I finished making the couple pattern pieces for the next flower bag XL to make one final sample, but I need to decide what fabric I want to do it out of. I'm gonna go with the purple one. I think it'll be a good first sample. Okay, so basically how I got into fashion in the first place. I was always creative, always liked clothes, and then I initially went to school for visual merchandising, which was super fun, but I just feel like it wasn't 100% my calling. So I decided to start looking into fashion school. So yeah, I did fashion school for 2 years. It was just a 2-year program. Intense, but 2 years. And halfway during my second year, the school always sent us like job postings to help us get us into the industry. And a job posting came along for the studio. They just needed like a part-time assistant, and I was like, oh my goodness, like this is my chance. I looked at their website. I thought the clothes were really fun, really colorful, kind of more my vibe. So I applied and I ended up getting the job, and it's probably the best job I've ever had. Ended up working there for 5 years altogether. Over the course of the 5 years, I used to make my own clothes and wear them to work or whatever. And my boss always used to say like, you know, you could make that and sell it, Elle. Like you can make more and just start selling them. So she kind of planted this seed in my brain that, you know what, maybe having my own brand is something I want to do and is something I can do. I learned in school how to draft, make patterns. I knew how to sew. I really like sewing, and like I knew the whole process. So that and like watching the brand I was working for grow and succeed, I was like, okay, like this is a viable thing, like this works. January 2021, my boss was like, just buy the domain. If you want it to be Eleanor Steva, just buy the domain. That way you own it, and then when you feel ready, you already have it and whatever. And then right after I purchased it, it just kind of like snowballed into something else. I was like, oh well, I have it now, I may as well just go for it. So that's how I started my brand. At the very beginning. I think I launched like 3 months after, and I did that for 1.5 years until I moved here. I need patterns. So I did my brand in Toronto for 1.5 years, but then I moved anyway, so I took the opportunity to just shut it down, and then I came here and of course needed a couple months to just figure out my life here. But I also wanted to figure out what I wanted to do with my brand, if I even wanted to still do it, or if I wanted just to like rebrand and restructure my process. So it took about 1 year of me thinking about it and sewing just for fun again, just for myself. And I ended up with the concept I have now, which is purely thrifting all my fabrics, so it's more one of a kind. And I relaunched my brand as a European, a Dutch brand, in September. So I got the binding all on, and now I just have to figure out the straps. So that's a D-ring strap. This is a strap for over your shoulder. You can see I clearly bought flowers to test out the bag. If I can fit another bouquet in here and still have space, even when it's fully expanded, I think the XL is a good size. Like, I closed this as tight as possible. These straps are like crazy long. Like, they do not need to be that long. So I get to shorten these by like 10 centimeters, I think. And then the tie up here, also the strings are like crazy long. So honestly, it worked great. Here's the whole thing. Just want to move the strap so it keeps the flower bag more up, and also doesn't cover my logo. We gotta show that. We just got some eucalyptus. The big bouquet, it's so beautiful, really tall. It's even a sunflower in it. And then there's these beautiful purple flowers down there. And it actually matched the bag, which is kind of fun. Thanks for watching though, and I see you next week.